Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Chris Wells, and welcome to the Emerging and Advanced Technologies webinar. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. You'll notice you've all come in under a mute, just to control some background noise. You'll also notice you have a control panel in your top right if this is your first webinar with us. There's a little orange arrow. That orange arrow, if you expand the control panel out, you will notice we have two handouts today. One is the EAT, that means Emerging and Advanced Technologies handout, and that will review some of the key points I'm going to go over today. And the second one is a white paper slash presentation on one of the technologies we're going to talk about, which is personalized addressable television. So that's available for you as well. Also below the orange arrow, and below the microphone, you'll see that there is the ability to ask me some questions by clicking on that little window in the circle. And I can answer the questions at the end of the presentation. And if you have a question that can't wait, you'll see there's a little icon where you can raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, I will unmute you and call on you, and we can deal with your question there. So that being said, this is one of our more intense webinars, and I like to start on time and end early, so I'm going to get right into it. Again, we're talking about emerging and advanced technology. Also in the handout, you'll see there's a link to our webinar channel, and the tactile, sensory, and interactive, as well as earned value webinars, recorded versions are on there. As we go through the rest of the sessions here over the next few months, we'll be posting those as well. So emerging and advanced technologies, probably my favorite of all topics. In terms of the USPS promotional series. So this whole promotional series, if you're not familiar with it, the United States Postal Service is trying to get people to use the mail more, and that's their number one objective. And what they've done is they've come up with 6 promotions where if you take advantage of certain elements of how to make your direct mail more effective, they'll give you a postage discount or a credit. So their goal is to get people to mail more and give you some money back or some discounts. What we found as we've put these on for 2 years now is that the techniques that the USPS talks about are actually quite successful in providing you with a return on your investment for your direct marketing dollars. So the postage discount, our experience is that usually dwarfs the results that you get through these programs. So the way this particular one works is it applies to pretty much all types of mail: first class pre-sort, marketing mail, which is standard mail or bulk mail, as well as nonprofit. And the program kicked off at the beginning of March, but it goes all the way through August 31st. It's one of the longer running programs out of the 6. It has to meet the following criteria. One, you have to use prominently one of the identified emerging technologies. You're going to learn about all of them today. Second, a directional copy on how to use the technology. So if you have to scan something or download an app or something of that nature. Third, all of the websites, landing pages, anything that that the technology leads to has to be relevant back to the direct mail piece. So you can't really cheat. You've got to have it designed for the direct mail piece. Next, any websites or landing pages, particularly ones that are being used with the phone, which is 90% of these technologies, they must be mobile optimized, so you can't cheat there either. Most of them are, I think. And finally, you have to submit the campaign in its entirety to the Emerging Technologies Promotion Office no later than 1 week prior to the first mailing, and they approve it. It usually takes 3 days, but we always say a week. And certainly somebody like us can handle that for you. You do all those things, and you will earn an immediate 2% discount on the postage rate for that campaign, as we say, cha-cha-cha, when we save money. Here are the key dates I just reviewed, but just so you know, registration period started in January, but it goes all the way through actually the week before August 31st because you got to get the week approval. Promotion period today through August 31st, and the deadline is 1 week prior to mailing. So what qualifies as emerging advanced technologies? I think I can start by saying things like QR codes do not qualify on their own. Those are not really considered emerging and advanced anymore. But these categories here, these 5 that you see, are the 5 main categories that would qualify, and some of them have some subcategories. Probably the most popular one thus far, excuse me, has been expanded reality. And a lot of people have used the terms of virtual reality, augmented reality, enhanced augmented reality, all as all encompassing, they're actually quite different. So we're going to take you through the different types of expanded reality and then give you a little sense of what type of results you might be able to experience from utilizing them. The first is virtual reality. So virtual reality, this would be similar to some of the new gaming systems where you wear the goggles and run around the house and knock things over. But you can actually utilize virtual reality in a direct marketing standpoint by sending out these pop-up goggles. And what the goggles are intended to do is become holders for a cell phone. And you create a virtual reality video. They're usually hosted on YouTube. It's a 360 video. And by placing the phone into the goggles, it actually puts the participant into a new altered reality. So the entire world around you is different. So you can kind of see an example of it over here with the person on the magic carpet flying around the islands. So that is virtual reality. It doesn't use any elements really of the real reality, which is good and bad. As I said, you can run into things, but it puts the participant into a brand new world. The next one is augmented reality. So what augmented reality does is it utilizes what we call markers. So a marker could be a symbol, it could be a picture, it could be an image, it could be a logo. And normally with augmented reality, you need to download an app. There are a lot of third-party apps available. You can fairly inexpensively private label or white label an app that you can kind of build into your own marketing scheme. Those ones typically have some limited flexibility, but certainly with things like the straight out augmented reality can certainly handle it. You can see the example on the right is a ski area. So by holding the phone over the image of the mountain, you have some interactivity with the trails. And I'll also show you one that is in a sample book that we have where the marker is a picture of Aruba. This was a postcard actually. And by holding the phone, this is a view from my phone, over it, it plays a video within the marker. The cool thing about augmented reality is that the markers lock the experience onto the paper. So you can see as I moved that around, the video just looked like it was playing right on the sheet of paper, which is kind of a neat experience. Very helpful if you have complex concepts where you have really good educational videos that back them up, but you don't want to overload your direct mail piece with content. You can use an augmented reality marker, and by holding the phone over that marker, you can give them the expanded content through video, which is really the most popular way to communicate things these days. The next type is called enhanced augmented reality. So again, like augmented reality, it's using a marker that is triggering the app through the phone. It usually requires a download of an app as well. The difference between augmented and enhanced augmented is augmented reality actually reaches out into the physical space around you. So you can see in this ad, it's a safe, and when you hold the tablet over that ad, the safe grows out and opens up in 3 dimensions. If any of you were on our mailing list last year for this seminar, this webinar, we actually used a little postcard, a 4-pager, sorry, saying spring is almost here. A tree grew out of the card when you held it up to the, you use the app. And also this little tap to RSVP. I'll go back just a hair. So, whoops, I went back way too far. Sorry about that. The little tap to RSVP is also part of the enhanced augmented reality. So that is not printed on the card. And when you tap that, it would bring you to the registration site. So enhanced augmented reality, basically taking 3 dimensions and moving the augmented reality into the 3-dimensional world. The next type, the last type, is called mixed reality. And mixed reality is placing items in the real space. So you're taking virtual items and you're putting them into real space. If you remember back to the days of Pokemon Go, some of you may still play it. This is when people were running across the street trying to catch these little Pikachus. And the phone, using its kind of plain spatial recognition, would place these little Pokemon into areas, and then you would have to go and catch them. So obviously the Pikachu doesn't exist on the sidewalk there, but it looks like it does when you view it through the phone. A more commercial application, IKEA is using mixed reality quite a bit. So if you wanted this chair, you wanted to see how it was going to fit / look in your room, that you can place it right in there and it kind of shows you what it looks like. Another good application of enhanced augmented reality is gaming. So this is a little game you can play in the office where it's a quiz and smash the coconut. So it's kind of a combination of both, which is kind of fun. Gaming's very popular right now. And the other one is there's some newer technology for particularly mixed reality that actually doesn't require an app. Well, customers who have used augmented reality in the past, you know what I'm talking about. The biggest concern is, will people download the app? So there's a new product called browser or web-based augmented reality, where it actually launches through a QR code or through near field communication, which we're going to talk about. And you can put things into space and you don't need an app. You can see it says ar.blipper.com. That's just a web address. So there's some limitations with that. We can't really get volume right now through that type of a video unless you're on an Android phone. But we think it will be very soon before you can do that. But you can certainly have buttons pop up and things of that nature that work pretty well. So that is mixed reality, but it's mixed reality with an app without an app required, which is kind of neat. If you guys were recipients of our direct mail program to get you to this webinar, we used a few different enhanced augmented reality techniques, and one of them, or emerging and advanced technology techniques, one of them was a near field communication sticker. So I'm going to take you through what near field communication is in a future slide, but basically if you have a Android or an iPhone 11 or higher, or if you also have an app, a near field communication reader app, by just running your phone down over the tree, it would launch this web-based augmented reality, no app required. You can also give people an alternative to that, which is a QR code, and the QR code will then just lead them also to that web-based augmented reality. So where QR codes don't qualify for this promotion, if your QR code then launches into something like this, which is a web-based augmented reality experience, and those of you who did this saw this was our little spring scene. We had foxes, birds, all kinds of cute little creatures running around in three-dimensional space. And we integrated our registration method right into the mixed reality, where you could just tap on that little sign by the fox and you would go to the registration page for GoToWebinar. We got quite a few registrations this way. It was very successful. It actually did make a difference to not have people have to download the app, which is kind of neat. The other good thing about any kind of augmented reality really is, first of all, we have some pretty good data on response rates. So we've done quite a bit of testing. We have some clients that have utilized this and some things on our own, and we've set up some control groups to see how the response rate can differ depending on which type of augmented reality you're using. So our control group got about a 1.1% response, still pretty good for direct mail. If we use just straight out augmented reality with markers, we're looking at 1.7. Doesn't look like a big jump, but it's almost twice the responses. Expanded augmented reality, where we had the three-dimensional things coming up, that was 2.1, so twice the response rate. In the mixed mode reality, where people are actually experiencing things in their three-dimensional world, 8% response. And that's because it's shareable. People say, hey, check out how cool this is. You can transport yourself to this pretty spring scene. The other thing about augmented reality, really good tracking, particularly if you're using an app. You don't get such great tracking on the web-based ones because they're not downloading the app, so we don't have the geo location services enabled. But when you're using an app, you can get really good tracking on who's hitting it and where they're hitting it. You can actually go down to the street level. We can sometimes figure out which customers are on it based on zooming up on that map. So I have it zoomed out a little bit there, but you can get really, really close on it. So pretty good results in reporting. So that's all expanded reality, all kinds of different ways to do it. The next one is integration. So this is kind of it's a expensive way to do emerging and advanced technologies, but super powerful. If any of you watched the Super Bowl this past year, if you were in the New England marketplace before the Super Bowl started, you saw a very cool ad from Sam Adams. And it was all these Boston sports heroes kind of doing a cheers. You had David Ortiz and Paul Pierce. That is personalized addressable television. That is not a national ad. There were versions of that done for different geo markets. So that's kind of a regional based ad, which we all know about. What a lot of people don't know about is that you can actually partner with your cable providers now, and you can deliver personalized or customized ads to an actual household individually. Most people don't do it on a one-by-one basis, but it can be done. So you and I could be watching the same show tonight, and when the commercial break happens, you could be seeing a completely different ad than I could. So the way the USPS is utilizing this personalized addressable television is that if you do a direct marketing campaign and you do it in combination with this, such that when someone gets the postcard in the mail that day and then that night there's an ad that plays on television that links back to that, you'll qualify for the discount. If you're already advertising on television, this is it's just not that much of a jump in terms of expense. If you don't advertise on television now, you got to kind of get over that hurdle first. But anyways, just a fascinating way to reach the consumer. If you stay tuned in the future, in the summer, for our informed delivery presentation, you could actually have, by using informed delivery, you could have an email hit the person's inbox that morning with some customized graphics about the postcard that's coming. Then you could have the postcard get delivered in the afternoon and a television ad that night. The next one is digital to direct mail. So if you can build a system, and we have a lot of these systems that are kind of plug and play, where you capture data either through an online inquiry form, through a desktop application, for a mobile application, a brand site visit, anything that you can utilize to capture an inquiry or a trigger, if you can then map that to a device ID, which is not too hard to do, but if you have a database of people, it's even easier. Or if you ask them to put their address in, it's even easier yet, even more. And then it immediately launches a personalized direct mail. That would also qualify for the discount. So we see these in a lot of multi-channel marketing campaigns where basically it's kind of a drop the data in and let it run, where somebody gets an email, they respond to the email, and based on that, they get a piece of direct mail. Or we're running a social media ad for a client and somebody interacts with it, they immediately get a direct mail piece. That would also qualify for the discount. The next one on integration is near field communication. So this is what I was talking about earlier with the postcard. Our initial goal was to utilize this stock, which is paper, that has the near field communication antenna built in. So this is kind of like RFID, much lower frequency, much lower power requirements, actually uses the power from the phone. And you only have to get close to it, it will launch a certain application. So in our case, we wanted to use this paper. It didn't come in time, so instead we just bought those stickers, and you just program the stickers and you stick them on. There's 3,500 of them. I don't recommend it, but it worked. But the paper itself, you can get with multiple RFID chips up. So, I mean, near field communication chips up. So let's say you were going to do business cards, you could, on a 12 by 18, you could get 22 chips in the sheet. If you're going to do a 6 by 9 postcard, you can order this paper with 4 chips in each sheet. So you can program those 4 chips, and then you wouldn't need any stickers or anything. Someone gets near it with their phone if they have a newer one, and it will launch into that whatever your augmented reality or other offer is. So near field communication becoming very, very popular. The next one is video and print. So one of the more popular ones has been video self-mailers. So there's all kinds of formats available. Pretty much they're not super cheap. You know, you're talking about 30 to 50 bucks depending on your quantity. But you can see one here where you open it up. It has a little insert in it, and I'll just jump right to the video itself so you can see what it looks like. But one of the ideas you can do, instead of using an actual video, you could make it look like a video and have a marker and have augmented reality run the video. So that is going to save you quite a bit of money over actually buying one of those video cards. The next one is integrated video. So integrated video is a little bit different. It hasn't become very popular. This is an ad way back from 2013. The whole idea behind it was that you use a translucent type of paper and then you put some sort of device behind it, in this case an iPad, and you get to the app that it tells you to, and as you play it, push play, it kind of makes the ad come to life. So you can see it highlights different areas of the car, makes the wheels spin, things like that. So it's cool, but again, hasn't had a huge response. Personalized interactive video. So some of you may have seen this before, where you go to a website, you put in a couple pieces of information, and they play you back a video. So again, how this would work in our world for this postage promo is if you do a direct mailer that sends them to your site, and your site can handle creating a personalized interactive video, you'd receive the discount. And the same thing with shoppable video. So if you're in the B2C market, you're in the retail market, and you can get people either through a QR code or augmented reality to get them into a video, where a lot of times this tells a story, and then when you click on the person, it'll kind of blow up into things like this where you could purchase the items they're wearing and things like that. That's called shoppable video. There's two more. One is Bluetooth. So Bluetooth is used more in a retail type environment, could be used around a campus as well. A little more expensive. Bluetooth, as you probably know, requires a little bit more power and requires a transmitter. So in this case, you would have a direct mail campaign, come into our store and enable our app, turn your Bluetooth on and connect to our device, and we'll send you coupons as you walk through the store. So that's the kind of the same thing. But if you're doing facility tours, campus visits, you can get these little Bluetooth transmitters, and as people go through, make it kind of like interactive, like it's kind of like the museum tours where you actually go in and push the button and it tells you what's happening. And then the last one for this particular campaign is digital assistants. So if you can register a learned command with one of the digital assistants, Google Home or Alexa, I know everybody's working from home, so I'm not going to say it out loud. They will give you the postage discount if you do a direct mail piece that then instructs the recipient to utilize the digital assistant. So you can see here with AAA, ALEXE asked AAA to find me an Italian restaurant. So it has to be a new command that you've had it learn. It can't be like just using an existing command that assistants already have. So there you go. That's emerging and advanced technology. That's the promotions for 2020. We hope you take advantage of it. If you have any questions at all, contact information is in the handout, as well as the second handout, which is more about personalized addressable television, if that's something you're interested in looking at. We're always available for questions, and we hope to see you on future webinars. I'm going to check for any questions from the audience. I do not see any, and nobody's hand is up. So that's good. I'm going to leave this webinar open for just a few more minutes if you want to take some time to grab one of those handouts and download them. Thanks. Everybody stay safe. Wash your hands off. I got a question right at the last minute. Oh, it's just a thank you. You're welcome, Eddie. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day and stay safe. Thanks.